Okay, it is 9:51. I didn't make very much, and it's still uptrending, and I want to see what it can do over a longer period of time. But I traded this Rivian right here for a bull flag setup, and I like how it's still following this original trend line from here to this corner right here. I like how it's still playing off of that level, and it got to a point where it got to this resistance level, which was 1750, and it kind of topped for a bit. It did trade above 1750, which is bullish, and then it started the downtrend a little bit. Kind of hard to draw a trend line for a bull flag setup for this one because it did have like these wicks. So, when it was breaking above this downtrending trend line right here, breaking above it, I didn't know if it was just going to be a wick and come back and downtrend some more, or if it's going to actually make the move. But once we were breaking the top, which was the 1755, 1756 range, I did buy 25 shares at 1756 at 949. And my risk level, I thought worst case scenario would be something that breaks this 1736, and then maybe worst case scenario, I'm going to be selling right around VWAP if it panics. Yeah, this is kind of hard because this is one of those that doesn't really work too well with trend lines. I did sell a portion of my position, just 10 shares, less than half, the next minute because it started to work immediately the next minute at 1760, which isn't the best sell, and I guess that's what I get for using market orders, but I did try to sell a piece there, and then I sold the majority at 951, which was at 1769, so right around here, and that was because it was already looking like it was going to break under the uptrending trend line, so that's why I got out. But it is still uptrending. I mean, the high is 1788, so that's about what, like 12 cents? No, like 16 cents higher than my best sell. I want to see if maybe I can still adjust the trend line to, no, yeah, what I could have done, but I wouldn't have really have done this. But in theory, hindsight 2020, I could be in the position and then still have my risk being this original trend line, and then that could allow it to maybe be something where I'm still holding on to the position and potentially make more. Yeah, that looks like the case with that. It is an uptrending stock, very aggressive movement here, but I did take it just because it looked like a bull flag, and I guess shorts are getting squeezed or something. I don't really see news for this stock today. That's pretty much it for right now. I have no interest in this one. If I don't remove it, I just had one uptrend and it sold off. No interest with this one. And then this one just doesn't have volume. I'll remove it for now, but it's still on the other watch list. GTII, I was watching it. It also looks like a bull flag a little, but it doesn't trade as nicely. Had an uptrend and then a downtrend towards VWAP, and it just shot from this 116 level all the way to 120, but it didn't really uptrend much more. And the previous day high was 119, so that was like a resistance level, and it's been selling off since. I don't really see a pattern that I'm interested in trading. And that's pretty much it for right now. I did see this one having a gap up, but it just looks like it was just going to sell off. It did, in theory, do a dip on a VWAP, but this doesn't look too easy to trade. I'll keep looking at Rivian. It does kind of look like a head and shoulders is forming if it doesn't try to break this high anytime soon. Shoulder, and then this could be the head. And I'll be looking for more setups, but that's it for right now. Just a very tiny game with Rivian. Probably could have made more if I didn't use market orders. Okay, it is 11:04 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, it was just that one trade with Rivian, and I'm out just $2.25. I did trade according to a $10 risk level, and this was a bull flag high a day breakout. In that it looked like a bull flag, but it also had wicks. So when it was right here, I thought it could be a wick again, a downtrend, maybe some more. But when it was breaking the high right here, I got in. And I used trend lines, and in this case, it didn't really help out too much because this was more of a longer term play, I guess, where, it did break the trend line very quickly right here, and it consolidated, and it did sell off, but it did put a higher low here. And as for the head and shoulders, the shoulder of the head was there, and then that did buy, I guess, for the shoulder would have really have worked out because it didn't make a shoulder, it broke the head, and then it became another high day breakout. and it got to the 18. So this thing was a pretty nice uptrend, a very nice move towards the upside. And for a swing trade, I am interested in it. I didn't think it was going to be as aggressive as this. In worst case scenario, it just keeps being aggressive and I'm not able to make as much as I can because then I feel like I'm missing out on the setup. But I don't want to chase it. If this thing can put up a higher low, now that we have this bottom right here, this can be a really nice inverse head and shoulders, like a shoulder, head, and then it can downtrend ideally, maybe trade around the 17 or 1650s if it's like textbook perfect, and that can be a shoulder, and then I can risk the 16 level or maybe even the range low, and then have a swing position for a move overall towards the upside. It is trying to bottom here, but it doesn't have to. Some of them are kind of tricky. Like, I remember I was looking at this one a really long time ago for a swing setup, and like this one was an example where it sold off and it did it eventually, but very tricky the way it traded, and it even broke the range low, as you can see right there. As for the other stocks, there wasn't really anything else that I was interested in, but I'll take a quick look because after Rivian, I got busy and I had to do other things. Nothing really here. I wanted to have traded this randomness, even though it did do like a double bottom. This is not really something I trade, but I do like how it broke a trend line in theory. Maybe something from here. Yeah, actually, with this trend line, it looks more like a setup I could have maybe have considered. Because I like how, it kind of got above the trend line here, but then it sold off and it got to the trend line again under, kind of broke past it, but it topped again, and then one more downtrend, but no longer under the trend line, and then maybe when it breaks the range, this could have been an entry in the 290s or something, and then it did get to the goal of VWAP, but 290 to 3 is not very much, but I guess this is something where you can trade a very large position because, it's cheap and then you would just be risking the range low, and that could have been a setup too. So actually, that was a decent setup. It didn't really look like I could make sense out of it, besides hindsight 2020, but I've seen a lot of setups turn around like that using trend lines. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No interest in GTII. Yeah, nothing with the OTCs going on, just that one setup with Rivian. And I guess a really good potential setup with BBBY. Just was not really at the computer to take these setups. That's it for today.